I got bags. 1 bag, 2 bags, 3 bags, and 4 bags. Now, I've been listing a bunch recently, so this isn't like everything that I've gotten. This is just actually some of what I've gotten over the past couple of days. And yesterday I didn't even really feel like going, and this is kind of a lesson why sometimes even if you're not in the mood, you should go out to a store because you might have one of your best days in a while. Now, 3 of those bags are from that store yesterday, but I'm going to start with the one from 2 days ago and then get into that. I'm also going to be going pretty quickly. I want to respect your time. I know that you're a busy person, so thank you for watching. If you'd like to, please like and subscribe below. Definitely helps out. And let's get into it. This is an Adidas t-shirt. It's a very modern t-shirt. It's got the embroidered logo on the front in the center, and it's got on the back, it says "Greetings from Freedom." This is probably a $20 t-shirt, give or take. Something that you'll see a little bit of is employee shirts today. This is an Amazon shirt. It's an official Amazon shirt, long sleeve employee shirt. This will probably go for around 25 bucks. This is a Nike Pro Combat Hyper Warm long sleeve t-shirt. This is a compression workout shirt. Usually the Pro Combat stuff does a little bit better than like a basic Nike workout shirt. Back on the employee theme, this is a Trader Joe's hoodie. Got the logo on the front and the logo on the back. These actually kind of have 100% sell-through rate from what I saw, and looks like they sell for about 25 bucks. This over here is one of my favorite underrated polos. So this is a brand called Nat Nast. Now, their Hawaiian shirts will go for maybe 20 to 30 bucks each, but where you really start to do well, and most of their shirts are silk, but really where you really start to do well is with their silk bowling shirt. So this is a long sleeve silk bowling shirt. Looks normal on the back, but on the back, or on the front, but on the back, it has this embroidery for Times Square, New York City. So oftentimes, some of the best shirts from Nat Nast, you're talking about like $60+ pre-owned, are going to be the ones with the embroidery on the back. This one, I'm expecting, I'll probably list this around 60 or 70. I'll expect it'll sell for around 50. Another thing to keep an eye out for with Hawaiian shirts is bigger sizes. So oftentimes, I don't really buy Hawaiian shirts that are not silk, but when I do, it's because of the size. So this is Island Passport. It's a men's 4XLT. Just a basic kind of geometric print Hawaiian shirt. But because of the size, this will sell. Probably not for a ton, maybe in the 15 to 20 range. And I think I got it for $3. So, you know, nothing too crazy. This is a basic. But if you got this in like a men's medium, it wouldn't sell. But if you get it in the larger size, it does. Now, if you aren't checking the blazer section, I recommend that you do. They're not the fastest sellers, but they usually have a really good margin. This one I got for $8, and this is Yves Saint Laurent. Excuse my pronunciation. It's a men's gray wool blazer. I would expect that this will sell in like the 40 to 80 range. Just depends. I think if I go like 80 to 120, it will sit for a long time, so I'll probably list it for around 50 to 70. I might be underquoting that. If you want to check comps on your own, maybe you can. I just know when I've sold their blazers in the past, I was surprised that pricing it aggressive, like pricing it high, meant that it sold a lot slower. Another gray blazer. This is a brand called J. Lindbergh, which I believe is a fairly decent brand. I don't know too much about it, but the reason why I got this actually is because, if you know what that is, you already know, that is the Loro Piana tag, which is a really, really high-end Italian wool. They're also their own company, but they do some materials for other companies, and when you see that, usually it will automatically add $40, $50 of value. Again, I could list this for like 120 to 180 if I wanted to. I think it would take a long time to sell and would sell for less than that. So I'm probably going to list this more in like the 60 to 120 range and then take an offer on it. 60 is probably a bit low. $49 there. Now store 2 was where I went yesterday and really did pretty well. So this is a hoodie from Six Flags. It's Six Flags Fright Fest hoodie. If you know, horror stuff can oftentimes be very collectible. This one goes for about 25 bucks. It's nothing too crazy, but for the price that I got it at, I think I got it for $7, and it sells for around 25 to 30. It's also a 2XL, which will automatically mean that I can add another $5 to $10 onto the price. So I'll probably list this around 35 and take an offer. Now, this is a brand that I'm very split on. It's a brand called Bugatti Uomo, and I've seen some people online saying that this is a fantastic brand that has not been, in terms of the resale value, that has not been my experience with it, and it has not been my experience in terms of the resale either. When I've looked at the sell-through, when I've sold it, I've noticed that the brand broadly actually has a very low sell-through rate. However, when I was at the store, I looked up the shaped fit, and noticed that the shaped fit actually has a pretty decent, like a roughly 60 to 80% sell-through rate. And so, decided to grab this to test out that kind of subcategory. If you've watched my videos before, you know I often talk about ideas like keyword stacking and subcategories, how sometimes a broad brand might have a lower sell-through rate, but when you get into the details of the brand, specific keywords, specific sub-brands, etc., specific materials, that brand might actually do a lot better. Like I was talking about before with that Island Passport Hawaiian shirt, that's really nothing special, but because of it being the larger size, that's an example of keyword stacking. You're taking one keyword, the brand, and adding another keyword. Same here, you're taking a brand that overall has maybe a lower sell-through rate, but you're keyword stacking it with the shape fit categorization. And then, this is also a linen shirt. So this is a great example of keyword stacking for a broad brand that actually has bad sell-through rate, but this item is actually very desirable because you have Bugatti Uomo, the brand, you have the shape fit, you have the 100% linen button-down dress shirt. Probably 30, I haven't comped it, but probably 30 bucks, give or take. Now, I should save it for later in the video, but this is probably the best find of the day. So this is a Givenchy Paris t-shirt, and if you'll notice, it's got a lot of issues. It's all torn up and stuff like that. Now, usually, if you see a t-shirt with a bunch of holes in it, you think to yourself, oh, that's no good. There are two areas where that's not true. First is with vintage. Oftentimes, a really special vintage piece will sell perfectly fine even when it has a bunch of holes. Second is with designer. Oftentimes, stuff like this is intentional. I paid $15 for this t-shirt. It's a men's size small. You can see it's all distressed and tore up. I looked this up. I originally searched terms like ripped and torn, stuff like that. There wasn't anything. Then I searched distressed, and this is actually about a $90 to $120 t-shirt in this condition. This is the style that it was made. This is how it actually looks. It's kind of going for like the faux poor aesthetic, I guess. But a nice Givenchy Paris t-shirt. Great find over here. This is a brand I haven't sold too much of. This is a brand called Oakley. This is a men's size 2XL or XXL regular fit polo. Seems that it has a pretty good sell-through rate, especially at the higher sizes. I know I've seen in some videos online people saying that they have had really good experience selling it. So it's a brand that I'm starting to pay a little bit more attention to and checking when I'm on the go. The sell-through rate on this seemed good enough for me, so I decided to grab it. This is Vineyard Vines. This is the classic fit Tucker shirt. It's like a green gingham button-down dress shirt. Nothing too crazy, about 25 bucks. And I got it for $7. Going back to the idea of keyword stacking, and if you take anything from this video, this is probably what you should take. This is a brand called Untuck It. Now, if you know Untuck It, you know that over the past year or two, the resale has really dropped on it. It's just, I believe that they went retail with some of their stores, opening their own stores, which means oftentimes when things don't sell in the store, then they go into the secondary market and really can flood the secondary market. So Untuck It is a brand where overall, you know, would I pay $5 for a basic Untuck It shirt? Sometimes, depending on my mood, but usually no at this point because it will sell for about 15 to 20. However, this is a 100% linen shirt, men's small. So again, that concept of keyword stacking, you know, multiple categorizations, as well as different materials, etc. you really want to find things that have multiple layers of keywords or are specific enough to have strong demand. But with a brand like this, if this was just a regular untucked shirt, I probably wouldn't have bought it. Maybe at $5 I would have, but overall, usually if it was any more than that, I wouldn't have bought it. But because it's a linen shirt, because it makes it more desirable, more easy to find, that means that not only am I willing to spend the $5 on it, I also know that this will sell for probably $25 to $35 rather than the $15 to $20 that a regular dress shirt from them would be. Sometimes it pays to know what older shirts feel like, just actually feel like, without noticing anything else. You can feel the material feels a little bit more worn. This is a Reebok men's 3XL vintage t-shirt. It's like a basketball t-shirt. It says, "Moves are not enough" on the front, and then on the back it says, "You gotta play with your heart above the rim hoopwear." I don't know too much about the shirt in terms of like the above the rim hoopwear part, but what I do know is that this is a single stitch t-shirt. It is double stitch at the bottom. Doesn't necessarily preclude it from being true vintage. It's got a great size to it, men's 3XL. It's got a great theme, the basketball theme. It's got a great quote on it. This is probably late 90s to early 2000s, if I had to guess. I don't know my Reebok tags that well. This is also made in the USA, so I would say that this is late 90s, early 2000s Reebok basketball t-shirt. True vintage by definition. I paid $4.95 for it, and it was sitting on the rack all day there. I was at the store for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. There were a bunch of like vintagey looking shoppers there. It's not my focus. And the fact that this was still there, because this is a very obvious shirt. It's a big size. It feels right. It's single stitch on the sleeve. I'm surprised that this was still there. This is a brand called Young LA. It's like a modern streetwear brand, nothing too crazy, about $25 for the t-shirt, give or take. I got it for $1.95. This one I paid $1.95 for. It's a Life is Good Compass t-shirt, nothing too crazy. If you know Life is Good, you know it's a fairly consistent seller in like the 12 to 17 range. I usually list them around $17.95 and take an offer for them in the 12 to 14 range. But Life is Good, consistent seller, easy sales. Back to dress shirts. This is a brand called Charles Tyrwhitt. Very popular with business and finance folks. This is just a regular check, kind of gingham plaid button-down dress shirt. It's a men's slim fit, size 16, men's large. Nothing too crazy. Basic dress shirt. Probably will list it for $19.95. Take an offer on it if needed. This is a brand that I really have had a good time with, even though I've overpriced it sometimes. It's a brand called Burma Beavis. Usually they have silk shirts, dress shirts, Hawaiian shirts, all of that. This is actually not silk. This is a modal polyester blend t-shirt, but it looks like their t-shirts sell consistently around $17.95. I got this for $2.95 plus 20% off. 01 Algo is a brand for kind of performance menswear, and this is a basic polo from them. I got this for $3. Same thing but green. Back to that brand I mentioned before, Nat Nast. This is a 100% linen bowling shirt. This was probably $40, maybe more. Another Charles Tyrwhitt dress shirt. Geometric red, white, and blue. A FootJoy men's size extra large polo. This is Under Armour, but more specifically, it's the playoff polo. A performance golf polo, men's size 2XL. I paid, yellow was half off, so I paid $4.50 for it. This will sell for around 15 to 25, somewhere in that range. A Ralph Lauren Polo Golf short sleeve polo shirt. This was a brand that was new to me, and sometimes you can just tell by the stitching and by the feel of a shirt that it's higher quality. This is a brand called Asket. I paid think $4.50 for this shirt, but it sells for around $25. It's a little bit of a hard keyword to find because eBay wants to autocorrect it to basket rather than ask it. But it does seem that like this brand t-shirts sell, just the plain basic t-shirts like this, which is solid gray, sell for around $25. And then last up, something that I've been paying a little bit more attention to is team sportswear, especially from bigger schools. Obviously, you're like, oh wow, duh. Anyways, this is an embroidered UCLA basketball, Adidas, size extra large, UCLA blue polo. And that is the video. Did you have a favorite piece from today's video? Is there something that really stood out to you that was helpful to you? Make sure when you're going out, you're looking for things that have multiple layers of categorization. Going back to that concept of keyword stacking, like even something like this. Yeah, it's an Adidas performance polo, but it's also got the UCLA basketball on it. That is an example of keyword stacking. But make sure that you are looking for things that have multiple descriptors, that you're not just relying on one thing, like just an Adidas polo. Like with that Under Armour polo that I had, it was Under Armour 2XL playoff polo. You want to find things like that because, especially with the bigger brands, there's so much stuff. Like with the Nike, it was the Nike Pro Combat Hyper Warm long sleeve compression t-shirt. Like that makes your item discoverable, not just Nike compression t-shirt. There's so many of those. So with the bigger brands, you really want to make sure that you're not just buying every single Nike t-shirt that you find for $7, because that's a fast way to lose money. Because a lot of stuff like Nike t-shirts and polos and stuff like that, where I am at least, do get marked up no matter what they are. But the difference between something like a Nike t-shirt, a Nike long sleeve t-shirt, and that's all you have, maybe it just has like the logo on it, you might, if you're lucky, sell that for $12, 12 to $15. But when you have the Nike Pro Combat compression long sleeve t-shirt, all of those keywords stacking up on top of each other, suddenly you have an item that's selling for 20 to 30 plus. So keep that in mind when you're out there. Understand that subcategorization, the sub-brands, the sub-differentiators for each brand oftentimes can be the ones that really make a big difference. Like the sell-through rate with the Bugatti Uomo shirt, where the overall brand doesn't actually have that great of a sell-through rate. It's like a 10% sell-through rate. But when you get into the weeds of the brand and you look for something like the shape, fit, cut, or the different materials, etc. There's also like a 08 way cotton stretch blend that I think that they have that has a good sell-through rate. But the reality is that when you have those details and you include those in your title and you include those in your listings, you make your item a lot more discoverable, because for these bigger brands, there are so many people out there who are looking for that specific categorization of the brand rather than just the whole brand as a whole. So keep that in mind when you're out there looking for stuff. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, or if there's anything that you disagreed or agreed with me, drop a comment below. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your day. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.